In this lesson, we're going to be looking at proving two things are congruent. Remember, the word congruent just means that things are exactly the same. If two shapes are congruent, they are exactly the same. It's a very simple concept, but in mathematics, we need to be able to come up with some proofs that will allow us to do some more complicated congruency questions. Let's just have a look. Under here, there are rules that you need to follow. If you look at two shapes, and we tend to just look at triangles at this stage. If you look at two triangles and all of the sides are the same, and remember in mathematics, these little marks, whether you've got 1, 2 or 3 little lines, similar markings mean the same length. So if all three sides are the same, then we can say that our triangles are congruent. All sides are the same. If all sides are the same, we say that they are congruent, and the reason it is because all sides are the same and we just say S, S, S. Our second congruency test is we can check. We might not know all three sides, but we know two sides, and we know that the angle between them is the same in both. So we know that two corresponding sides and one equal corresponding angle between them, that's important, it's got to be the angle between them, is the same. In this case, we know a side, we know another side, and we know the angle between them are the same, and therefore we can say that our two triangles are congruent, even though we don't know anything about this third side. The next congruency test is if we've got two angles and one side. If we know that two angles are the same and we know that one other side is the same, then that's enough to say that they are congruent. It doesn't matter where the angles and the sides fall. The angles don't have to be in between the sides. The side doesn't necessarily have to be in a particular place in relation to the angle, but we know that we've got two angles and one side that match. We could also say we've got two angles and one side, or we could say we've got two angles and one side. It doesn't matter where we put the S's and the A's. Our last test for congruency is if we've got a right-angled triangle, we can first of all recognise that both of our triangles have right angles. So it says here two right-angled triangles with an equal hypotenuse. Now the hypotenuse is always the longest side of the triangle, and it always falls directly opposite the right angle. So if your hypotenuse in your two triangles match, they're the same length, and then you know one other side is the same length, then you can say that we have congruence, and we say we've got a right angle, the hypotenuse is the same length, and one other side is the same length. So we call that an RHS proof. Okay, let's have a look and see how we actually put that into practice in these examples here. Which of the following tests, and there's your clue that the four proofs that you can have, would you choose to test whether these two shapes are congruent? So here we've got a triangle 1 here and a triangle 2. Now if you have a look at it, it looks like it's got the right numbers. We just need to make sure that the angles correspond with one another. And the best way to do that is perhaps to draw up, let's draw triangle 2 in the same orientation as triangle 1. So I'm just going to spin this one around here clockwise a little bit. So I know that that's 5 centimetres. That one there was the 60. That one there was the 70. So you can see now that the angles here is the same as that one. This angle here is the same as that one. And this side length here is the same as that side length there. So I've got two angles and I've got one side that all are the same size. two angles and one side, so it's going to be the angle. I've got two angles and I've got one side, so that's my proof there. This one, part B, the clue here is this right angle. So both triangles have got a right angle. You need to rearrange or reorient one of the triangles so that they are in the same position. So if I call this one triangle 1, this one triangle 2, then I'm going to spin triangle 2 around so it matches triangle 1. So I'm going to pick this corner up and fold it over the other way. So triangle 2 is going to be drawn like this. My right angle is here. My hypotenuse is 15 and my other side is 12. So I can see now that triangle 1 drawn this way and triangle 2, once I've reoriented, are exactly the same. So I would say they're congruent because they both have a right angle, the hypotenuse matches, and one other side matches.